Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Everyday Carry for the Everyday Guy. So today we are going to be talking about the Benchmade Griptilian. But before I talk to you about this knife, I do want to explain a few things about knives for everyday carry. So firstly, this knife is different to the knife on a Leatherman scaly tool, and these two are different to this sort of blade. So if you are someone who carries all three of these, okay, I don't want you to feel bad about yourself. You're not doing anything wrong. What I mean by that is this is a dedicated everyday carry utilitarian tool. That is a dedicated blade. It's an edged tool dedicated to be an edge tool. And I'll explain in this video what I mean by that. So that is this type of blade. This is a multi-tool that has an edged tool on it. One of its tools is a blade. Now, the reason I say these two are different, okay, is because if you were to walk into a store and someone was going to sell you just this tool with just this blade in it, you would say that is the most uncomfortable grip you've ever felt, and the position of this blade in your hand, sort of offset to the left as you seeing it, or is it the right? I'm not sure. Left is the weirdest blade position, okay? Also, if you're going to use sort of a saber grip on your tool, it's incredibly uncomfortable, okay? So if you carry both of these tools for different reasons, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Furthermore, this is a completely different bladed tool, okay? This is a more everyday carry self-defense tool. You don't really want to be using this for utilitarian purposes. So to all these so-called knife guys out there and people who say, why are you carrying all those different things? All right. Firstly, the answer I give people is, for one, I don't carry a knife or a gun or a sort of self-defense knife to use every single day. That's not the reason I carry it. I carry it to use it when I need it. If that's once a week, if it's once every second week, etc., etc. Similarly, you carry different edged tools to use in different situations when you need it. So if you are someone who EDCs three bladed tools for three different reasons, that's 100% cool. I'm down with it. Explain to people that you carry different tools for different reasons and that these two things in particular are not the same thing. I was at the range today and I actually had to use this tool in order to make a very fine, aggressive cut on something that I wanted a very smooth cut, shall I say. So these two options are not the exact same thing. So don't feel bad if you carry both. It's cool. We all get it. Other people don't get it. And that is their problem. Okay, so with that out of the way, the Benchmade Griptilian. Now, I know there is some flack around Benchmade these days with regards to doing certain things with certain firearms that the firearm community doesn't like. I'm not going to concentrate on that simply because I don't have all the information, and it genuinely has not changed or affected their ability to make a good blade. So support them, don't support them, that's your choice, but that's why we do, or I do, reviews on these things, so I can give you some insight into what I think is a really, really high quality tool, and you can decide if you want to spend your money on that tool. So first and foremost, let's start off at the blade. The Griptilian's been around for quite a while, but it hasn't had the quality blade steel that the sort of new, I think 2018, 2019 models have. I'm not exactly sure of when these were released. So this is S30V blade steel, and it is a premium quality blade steel. This is really, really high quality. I've had this for about 3 months, used it as an EDC tool, and I would ordinarily have had to sharpen my other blades for the amount of usage that I've gotten out of this guy. However, with this, I haven't sharpened it. As I say, I was at the range that I actually wanted to cut up a target, but I wanted to make a very straight, very smooth cut. And like I said, just this morning, it worked absolutely perfectly. There is one very, very tiny nick in the knife. I don't know if I can't even always find it. It's on there somewhere. It's really small, but I was doing something very stupid with a knife that I shouldn't be doing. It's not affect my ability to use the blade at all. So ultra cool, ultra high quality blade steel. The opening mechanism are these two thumb stubs. They're on either side. This blade and tool is fully ambidextrous. I'll get to that in a second. But you basically flick it open with these little things over there. one there, and one there, as you can see, both on either side. And the opening mechanism is ultra smooth, and it's remained smooth. I've had this thing in sand. I've even eaten a steak with it, to be honest with you, and I just rinsed it off under a tap. I've applied absolutely no maintenance to this blade. It is sort of as I got it out of the box, and it's still working absolutely perfectly. I've not done anything to clean the blade other than obviously wipe it off and things like that when it did get dirty, but no sharpening, no oiling, no nothing. And that's one of the reasons I think for EDC, it's an excellent tool, because I don't like to overly have to worry about my ability to use my EDC tools after a good working in. I want them to basically hold that high standard. So blade steel, STTV, high quality. This is the drop point design, which I really quite like. I must be honest, I'm a big fan of a Tanto style blade, but for utilitarian purposes, I think the drop point is a very utilitarian um, shaped blade, because you get a good point and you get a nice cutting belly, if you will. You know, it makes cutting really, really easy. Very, very cool blade. At the back here, you've got some what's called jimping. That's to allow your thumb to get some friction so it doesn't slide down the top side of the blade. You've also got some, you basically have the same style of serrations, this jimping serrations kind of deal over there that you've got over here, and also some at the base over here and on the rear side as well. So how the locking mechanism works, right? It's got that famous axis locking mechanism. When the blade's open, as you can see, this drops a bit as I'm pulling it open, okay? And if you can see that. As I pull it open, it drops, goes up, 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 and then basically engages to the back side of the blade. Okay, so what it's actually, this little stub here, it's a little bar that goes all the way through, is actually holding the backside of the blade. In order to release it, you pull the two stubs down, it releases the backside of the blade, and the knife can close. Fully ambidextrous. What I like about that is when it's open, your fingers are never in the way of the travel path of the blade as it's closing. If I can give you an example, if I take this honey badger, right, it's basically a liner lock mechanism, which is I think that the most popular. But in order to disengage, how do I best do this on camera? At some point or other, my fingers are in the path of the blade. Do you see that? As it's closing. And with the blade this sharp, you really don't want any mistakes. And this thing stays sharp for long. It's like still sharp since, like I said, since I've had it. So you feel, I would say, more safe in closing this than your other blades. Although I don't ever really feel unsafe in closing a light and lock blade. I just feel this is a really cool closing mechanism, and it's smooth. Like if you tug that down, the thing, it just drops. Like under the weight of gravity, it just drops down. Maybe a little shaky now and then, but very, very smooth closing mechanism, and it's remained that way. Now with a name like Griptilian, you would imagine that the grip is really good. This is FRN, fiber reinforced nylon. And a lot of people prefer sort of your G10 scales, that sort of thing, which is fine. I get it. It's a good quality material. But with the FRN, it's got perfect balance, okay, which is kind of important with a blade you're going to be using as a tool. They've sort of, the FRN is quite light, and it's balanced out perfectly with the blade. So you never feel like when you're using it that you're chasing that edge. And it really does feel different in the hand to knives that are not as perfectly balanced as um, the Griptilian is. Don't be put off by that fiber reinforced nylon scales. It's there for a reason, and because the blade itself has like a sort of a bulbous elliptical shape towards the end and no finger grooves, it fits many hands, any hands, quite comfortably. Whether you got big, small hands, doesn't make a difference. It's comfortable in the hand. Some knives that have sort of either straight-edged grips or grips with finger grooves, you've got to have the right size hand or be within a hand size scale in order to get the perfect function out of the grips. With this elliptical slash bulbous situation going on here, it's comfortable, you know, in almost any hand. Another thing I really like is the pocket clip. Now, I wouldn't say it's a fully deep concealment pocket clip, but it is incredibly robust, and you can switch it out to either side. So again, that fully ambidextrousness, I said ambidextrous, it's late. Now, when I say fully ambidextrous, you see, if I go with this blade, right, closing it is quite simple if I'm right-handed, okay, because the locking mechanism or the liner lock is right there. My thumb goes in there quite easily and I can bring it closed. Now, I'm retarded with my left hand, so please excuse what I'm about to do. Doing that with my left hand is incredibly difficult, okay? I don't know how left-handed people do this. Yeah, I'm really not sure how they do that. But with the Griptilian, it's as simple as pulling down on the two stubs. Now you see, my left hand is so weak and so useless, I struggle to even do that. But it's that simple. The motion is exactly the same to open and close. Over here, motion is the same to open and close, but the locking mechanism and to get the blade re-locked and reseated into its own position is definitely different with your left hand than with your right hand. Oh man, I really need to work on this side. That is what I mean by a fully ambidextrous knife design. So very cool knife. It's also got a little hole here if you want to chuck a lanyard in there. This is probably going to be my EDC for a very long time. I don't see myself changing from this. It's such a perfect little package. If you are looking for a knife, if you're looking for a new knife, if you are a knife guy and you like investing in good quality knives with good quality blades that are going to last you and that you can use, definitely check out the Benchmade Griptilian before you make your decision. This in South Africa is available from Blades and Triggers, pretty much all of their branches, and I highly recommend. I don't recommend things easily, but if you're a knife fan, go and check out Blades and Triggers. You know that they've got their knives are, I'm not gonna lie, they are pricey for my taste, but they are high quality and you do get really exotic knives. Not often do we find those knives sort of, locally. The Benchmade Griptilian S30V blade steel FRN scales, ultra good knife, ultra good blade, fully ambidextrous, awesome pocket clip, and also a well balanced blade. You're not going to have any problems with regards to balance. Very good, very comfortable in the hand. Super quick review today. Want to say a massive thanks to the guys for sending me this. I remember, guys, I am going to be doing a giveaway with Blades and Triggers where we're going to give away some Benchmade gear as well as some really cool Blades and Triggers gear. So stay tuned for that. Next week, we might be doing some shooting drills. I was on the range with James Smart today and we did some shooting drills and it like opened my eyes. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Like I said, super quick review, but there's not really anything bad to say about this knife. It's such a good tool. Again, if you are looking to buy yourself a new EDC knife, definitely give this guy a look in. It's really worth it. It is more pricey than your average, but it's a good tool. It's one of the few things I can actually recommend as a very, very nice option for EDC. That's it, guys. Have a good week. I'll see you guys soon for that competition and for more reviews. Cheers. God bless.